Hello, everyone. Okay, we're continuing our My Influencer series. This one is super cool. Like I'm very honored and privileged that I would get to interview her. And so, little background, we'll talk about it a little bit in the episode too, but I once in a while I'll have you guys tell me when there's somebody on Instagram or Facebook or somebody that I need to be following that is totally my vibe, totally my people. And it's super fun when I go check them out. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I love everything this woman is saying. This is so amazing. And that's really the case here. So Taneshia Yerby is actually CEO for Women. So if you follow CEO for Women, I think she has 100,000 followers or so, and is putting out such beautiful content. I love so many things about her page, and after talking to her just about her, and one of the things that strikes me with her, one of the things that really am I want to keep following for this reason is that she so clearly follows God's lead and not what the world is telling her to do. And we talk about that in this episode. We talk about even how she comes up with her content and how this whole thing has gotten started for her. And it's just a really, really cool episode. So I'm really glad, that I don't know if I've ever had so many people point me to one person out here. We talk about that. And so I'm grateful to all of you who know me well enough to know this is somebody that I needed to be following. And I'm so grateful for Taneshia to come on and talk to us and visit. And I'm just, really, really excited to get this episode out into the world. I think that God will use it in mighty ways. So with that, you guys, welcome to Taneshia Yerby and to the podcast for today. Hello, fellow plate spinners. I'm really glad you're here for your weekly dose of authenticity and joy. I'm Selena Johnson, and your guide through this chaos of busy lives. In each episode, we unpack real tools to conquer overwhelm and dodge burnout. It's all about creating space for what truly matters. Whether it be through solo reflections or inspiring guests, this is your sanctuary for a more centered, productive you, with a healthy serving of that joy we talked about. Get ready to hit pause on life while we dive in to some real chats. Hope you enjoy. All right, we have very special guest. It's somebody, you guys, this has been very comical because I was just telling her the number of people who will send me her stuff, like the Selena, you need to see this, you need to see this, is like, it's probably the number one person I get stuff from all the time. And got to tell them that I got to have her on the podcast. So I'm super excited to welcome Taneshia Yerby. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat with you today.
Yes. So first of all, you're on Instagram. So I'm just going to start there, and I'm going to ask you about yourself, but I just want to say before we get too far, if you're not following Taneshia, you need to be following her. That's like your quotes and it's always exactly what I need to hear. So just know that God's using you. It's beautiful and I love it. So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at in life.
Yeah, so I am the founder of Christian Entrepreneur Org. I am a wife, a mom. My husband and I, we have two small girls together, 9 and 3, and then I have a bonus daughter who is about to be 17. And yeah, so whenever I'm not working on the business, I am at somebody's track practice or swim lessons or gymnastics or something. So busy times for me, but fun times for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And so Christian Entrepreneur Org is also, some of you may recognize it, and this is who you need to go follow, is CEO for Women, right? That is the brand that we have going. So tell us a little bit. I would love to hear how it started. Like where did it all come from? And is it what you pictured it to be and all the things? What got you here?
Yes. So it's not what I pictured it would be.
It
And
never
I
is.
will, it never is, right? It never is. So a few years ago, I'll give you some backstory. Maybe like, I don't know, after college, maybe 12 years ago, I graduated college. I did things the way that society tells us that we should do. You should go to college, you get a degree, you get your big girl job, you get married, you have kids, buy a house. And I did it in that order. And I realized after that, I was like so unfulfilled. I'm like,
Mm.
This cannot be what people work towards, just this, because I'm not getting like the feeling that I thought I was going to get. And it's not that I was like not grateful or thankful. It's just like, man, something's, I can't put my finger on it, but something's missing. And
Mhm.
so I started this entrepreneurship journey where I would like try to sell t-shirts, and I had a party planning business, and I did jewelry, and I did all this stuff. And then none of it was working. Literally none of it was working. And so I had my come to Jesus moment where I was kind of like, okay, God, I know that I have gifts and I know that I'm talented. Um, and so what is it that you want me to do? What do you want me to do? And so God just responded. He's like, I just want your voice. And so I'm
Mm.
like, okay, I was trying to sell t-shirts and I was like buying all this inventory, I'm doing all this stuff, and God's like, I just wanted your voice. That's all I
Yeah.
wanted.
He's like,
And
stock the
so
merch, stock the merch.
that's
Like,
it.
yeah.
Yes. And so that's how it started. I was like,
Mm.
okay, I don't know what he means by use my voice, but I'll start an Instagram account.
Oh.
So I started an Instagram account, and I still like tried to just figure out what that meant. And I don't think it actually like clicked for me until 2000 and almost the end of 2020 is when it finally was like, okay, this
Mm.
is what it means. So that's kind of like the backstory of how we got here. So
Mm.
yeah.
I bet that felt so good too. I know that feeling of stepping into obedience and kind of wiggling through it and not like it's like, like, is this what we're doing? And then, like, oh, like, and I'm sure God is like looking at us like, okay, yeah, I've been waiting for you to like to figure this out. I love hearing that story because I think so many of us resonate with that feeling of like there's something more that, and really that feeling of too, like this can't be it, God, like this can't be exactly what you had in mind. And I love hearing that it has created this really beautiful space that you're in. So I would love to talk to you. I know it's going to be like a real tactical question, but
Mhm.
you you do have a gift with your voice. Like what you're putting out in the world is affecting people. I mean, the fact that I'm getting sent things all the time is like people are like seeing it, hearing it, feeling it, loving it, reposting it. What is how do you go about content? And even like I want to know tactically, like how do you even like store it and plan it? And I would love to hear that process for you of, how God is putting it in your head and then heart and out into the world.
Yeah. So I think I probably do it completely opposite to what most people would say. Mine,
I love that.
since my community is, it's so much different than what like a typical like business would be. And
Mhm.
so a lot of this stuff just can't be created in batches because it comes from God. And it's
Right.
not like God just gives me like 100 pieces of content to just write out captions to. It's not like a product per se. So a
Right.
lot of the stuff comes like when I'm in the car, or like as a creative person, as soon as we lay down at night, stuff like
Yes.
that. Or even some of the things that I like am in prayer about, and God like gives me an answer, I'll share it. And then on the flip side, some of the stuff that he gives me is like, no, that's not for them, that's for you. You need to follow those
Mm.
orders, it's not for everybody else.
Mm.
So I really just honestly just created. I have a very simple template that I use because um if you're in the online space, aesthetics is kind of like the thing, right? Everybody wants like a clean, polished
Mhm.
page. And
Mhm.
I was doing that, and it was taking away from like my time with God, I felt like, because I was
Right.
always like trying to like design and create, and then my message kind of got like, I don't know, I wouldn't say watered down, but I just was trying to like do too much. And so
Yeah.
now I'm like, okay, we're just going to focus on the message.
Yeah.
It's going to look just very simple. It's like bright, bold colors.
I
That's
know. I
it.
love
That's
it.
all I can
Super
manage.
cute.
And that's all I
Mhm.
can manage. So,
Yep.
um, really just making sure I'm consistent and showing up a few times a week. I used to do daily, but again, that's a lot to manage. So now it's kind of like this is the year where I'm kind of just going at God's pace. And he's like,
Mm. Love
you
that.
don't have to like, I didn't ask you to like put this out there every single day. I know you're consistent, Tanesha.
Mhm.
I see what you're doing behind the scenes, even if you're not posting every day. And so
Mhm.
this is my year that I'm just really just submitting to God and like not really worrying about an algorithm. So yeah.
And boy, it feels good. I'm in the same exact space. And it's funny because it does distract from the call when you're trying to, yeah, you're like, I mean, there's been moments where I'm like, I just don't even know if I should post this because it would totally throw off the schematic. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like God's telling us to post it, post it. And
Yeah.
I love that phrase, at God's pace. And that's I really am all about like the pause and like taking time to really marinate with him. But you said something and I want to stop there and go back to it, which is you said this isn't for like maybe this isn't for everyone else, this one's for you. What does that look like for you? I mean, I'm sure you have a clear direct line to hearing what he's saying for you, but like
Yeah.
how do you confirm that too for yourself? And I don't know, what's that process look like?
I've been a lot better at it over the years.
Mhm.
So I would say probably maybe the last time I posted something that was for me, it really did not do well online. Because and then God was like, I never told you, I never said
There's a
to
reason.
say that
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
people. I
No
said
one
to say
needed
it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't need that. And people took it like the complete wrong way.
Mhm.
But it was something that God had with me personally. It's something that he personally gave me was that, hey, you don't have anxiety, Tanisha. You just don't trust me. And that was for me, even though it can resonate with other people, it kind of like went left field. But that was one of the things where God was like, no, I was talking to you. You
Wow.
don't have an anxiety problem. You just don't trust me. And
Mm.
that's why you're overworking yourself. That's why you're overthinking everything. And so the last time I probably did that was maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. But it really, he's very clear about what can be shared and what is for me. So that was probably my last time having that have happened.
Yeah, gosh, what a powerful word, which is that you don't have anxiety. Like that's like we could sit there for a minute. Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
people right now that should be the prayer is um how do you decipher that? And maybe that's this, I mean, I'm talking to myself too. Maybe that's the thing to be chewing on with him right now is, is this really a worry or are you not
Yeah.
giving it to him? And so often I think we would all come back to, oh, I'm just not putting it at his feet. It's
Yeah.
funny, when they say like cast all your cares on him, the casting is really, that was like also the word they would use when they would lay like the coats on the donkeys or the things on the donkeys and let the donkey carry the burden. And I always think of that like, am I really giving him all the stuff or am I just kind of like holding his hand and hoping that he's coming along with me? And I'm like, am I like
Yeah.
actually giving it to him and putting, like, do I feel comfortable that he can handle the burden I need to put on him? And the answer is yes. He needs to. He needs to
Yeah.
be the one I give it to. And I just, yeah, I don't know. It made me think of that when that anxiety
Yeah.
thing pops up. That's good
Yeah.
stuff. That's good stuff.
But
Okay.
yeah, maybe it's a word to share now. So that was like 3 years ago. But
Yeah.
sometimes I
Oh,
feel like,
yeah. Yeah. That's funny.
yeah,
That's funny.
yeah, it was like
Yeah.
3 years ago. But I feel like sometimes God talks to me like, I feel like he speaks to each of us in our own different
Yeah.
way. And
Yeah.
sometimes he might be a little bit harsh with me and I like put it out there in a harsh way. And
Hmm.
people are like, I don't know, this
Yeah.
this is not nice. So anyways, but yes, maybe that's a word
Yeah.
that'll help somebody now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just gonna tell you, I think it was for me right now. So that was good. That's enough, right?
Okay, good.
So let's talk about influence because I'm having you as part of my influencer series. I just told you, which is exciting. So what does that look like for you as far as when you think of influence and having an influence, what is the first thing that comes to mind and how do you define that?
I would say the ability to speak to people and to push them to take action.
Mhm.
So, and it could be in a
Mm,
positive way or a negative way. So that's why when you have influence, you got to be careful of what you're saying out of your mouth because people are naturally gravitating towards you and they follow what you say.
that's
So
right.
yeah.
Yeah. And do you have I mean has it been a struggle for you to be, and I'm putting air quotes, but to be an influencer? Because I mean you have a lot of followers, you're putting a lot out there, and I'm sure that people really do listen to the words that you share, and some probably take it to heart. And so what has that been a struggle for you, or is that something that's come natural, or
Um,
how's that process been?
yeah, I think it comes natural for me only because I also it's a more of a brand where I don't show my personal life.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I live a Christian life.
Mhm,
However, I understand how social media is and people could pick things apart. And
mhm.
so it's like I saw a post the other day where someone did like a line dance and they just ripped her a new one for it.
Oh,
And so I don't struggle with that part of it because I don't show anything to be critiqued on that side. I literally show up and I do exactly what God called me to do, and I say the words that God told me to say, and that is it. I don't post things about my children or my husband or anything to open people up to say, oh, you're parenting wrong, or you and your
Yeah.
husband should do this differently. So I've never struggled with that. Thank God I've never struggled with that. And I guess it's just probably because how I show up in the online space.
Yeah, well, that's a really good answer. And I also was thinking like boundaries, right? That's probably been a
Yeah.
big piece of it for you. And I'm sure that's become even easier as you've seen the fruits of that, you go becoming obedient in that call and not sharing everything, which is a really good reminder for a lot of us that not the world doesn't need to know all your stuff. The world
Yeah.
does not need to know all your stuff. Nor do you need the world to need to know all your stuff. That's a good reminder
Right.
too.
Yeah. And I like I said earlier, I'm so busy. I don't even have time to record half of the stuff.
Hmm.
So that's why I just don't post it either.
Yeah, gosh, I love your vibe. You're just like helping me like have peace about like you don't have to be all up in it all day long. I've learned
Yeah.
this year has been the year of me actually, God really gave me a word at the end of the year, which was like you need to take it more serious. Like I've called you to this and you're kind of just throwing things around and dabbling, and I need you to like the podcast is a good example. Like you've been doing this for 3 years, but what are we really doing here? And so that's been really neat to actually take it more serious and actually schedule in advance so that I can spend more time with my family and, do what he's calling me to
Yeah.
do. So I think we each have our own journey with him, like you were saying, and it could look different for everyone.
Yeah.
So who has been an influence in your life or influencers that have been a part of your life?
In the online space, I don't know off the top of my head,
Mhm.
but my mom
Yeah.
is very influential to me. My mom's a pastor. A lot of people don't
Mm.
know that.
Mm.
So it's funny. She comes to my page all the time and she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so good. Can I preach about this?" I'm like,
Oh, I
"Yes,
love that.
you can."
Oh,
And I'm
God.
like, and so we're kind of like reverse roles now because I always sat and
Yeah.
watched her preach, and
Yeah.
now she will come to my events with me, and it's like, oh my gosh, we completely switch roles now. So
Yeah.
it's crazy to see, but yes, my mom is the number one influential person.
Mm. Yeah, I would say the same thing. I think it must be so sweet for her too to see how God has worked in your life and I mean, I'm a parent and right too, so it's like when you see them walking with the Lord and doing it in a way that's their walk and not, just because you were raised in the church. I love
Yeah.
that she's getting to see that. That's a gift, I'm sure, to her every
Yeah.
day. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some fun wrap-up questions.
Okay.
So, but before we do, where can everyone find you? So, CEO for Women on Instagram, is that the best place for them to grab you?
Yes, that is it. And then the website is the same thing, ceoforwomen.com. So yeah, CEO for Women.
Yes. Perfect. Wonderful. Okay, so I want to know what are you feeding your mind with right now?
I just got a new book by Lisa. How do you pronounce her last name?
Trickers?
T. Yes.
Yes.
And is it the? It's
She's
not
so good.
Uninvited.
That's
I
one of
don't.
them.
Is that it? That's it. I
Hmm.
just got that in the
Yeah.
mail.
Oh,
Um,
it's so
yeah.
good.
Is it
You're gonna
good?
love
Okay.
it. Yeah, you're
I
gonna love
just got that. I also just got my friend of mine just wrote a book. Mariella, she just wrote She Speaks Fire.
it.
And that just came out.
Mm.
Yeah, that just came out last week actually. So I
Oh
just
my
got
gosh.
that.
I'll go grab
Those
it.
are
That's
on
awesome.
those are on my list to read right now.
Yes. That's really why I asked this question is because it's my personal development list that I could just keep going with everyone on the
Yeah.
podcast. So yeah, I love it. What brings you joy?
My kids, family.
Yeah.
So anytime I can be outdoors with my kids,
Mm.
my husband is always like, "Is this for you or is it for the kids?" I'm like, "It's kind of for both." It's kind of for. I had him build this fun playroom in our basement,
Mm.
and it's so nice. He built a rock climbing wall in our basement, and he's like,
Oh,
"Is it for the kids or is it for you?"
so
I don't know.
fun.
I'm still a kid at heart. So yes, anything with my kids, fun stuff.
And they'll
That's what
always
brings me joy.
remember playing with you. That's awesome. What's your favorite way to pause?
I think my new way, because I'm learning myself now after motherhood. You know how you turn into like a different person where you're growing.
Yes.
I my husband
Every
took me
day.
to my husband took me to a spa for my birthday last week, and it was the best experience I've ever.
Mm.
And I'm
Mm.
like, I think I am a spa girl
You're
now.
like, this is a new thing we'll be doing regularly.
Like this is a new thing. I mean, and it wasn't just like I've gone to like get massages before, but this was like there were like 10 pools and there were pools
Oh,
outside and you had to like they were heated because we had to go out in the freezing cold to get there and there were saunas and like it was amazing.
it
So
sounded
I
amazing.
think that my new way to pause is going to be spas.
Oh my gosh, I love that for you. After we're done recording today, I'm gonna go get my very first, despite I'm not wearing any makeup, I'm gonna get my very first facial. I've never had a facial.
Yay.
So I'm like, yes, I'm
You're going
excited.
to love it. You're going to love it.
That's what everyone says. I'm like, I'm in. I'm all in.
Yeah.
What is okay, so if you could go back in time and give yourself a piece of advice and you get to pick what age, what would you say?
Hmm. I would go back to probably right after college and I would tell myself that you don't have to do what everyone else has done. And you also don't have to worry about the opinions of others. Like
Oh,
none of us know what we're doing,
reach.
literally none of us, and we are all figuring it out. And
Yeah.
you're worried about people who are not worried about you.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
just show up and just figure it out because that's what everybody else is doing anyway.
oh, I love that. I had somebody said to me once, you don't need to worry about the opinion of somebody you wouldn't ask advice from. I was like, ooh,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah,
Like, that's good. Yeah, that's like a good marker. Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
so what is your this is a fun one, but what's a favorite product that you can't live without?
Product that I can't live without. Can it be food?
Yeah.
No. I'm a
Yes.
snacker. I'm a snacker. So my husband always jokes on me. I can't live without having snacks on me.
Okay, that's
I,
good.
that is what I can. I have snacks every time we go somewhere, and it's funny because even if we get stuck in traffic, he's like, "Hey, do you have any snacks?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"No," because you always talk about me, so
Oh,
I don't
now
have
you want
any.
my snacks? Yeah.
Yeah,
Now you want
I
my
always have
snacks?
snacks. I'm the snack lady, so I cannot go without snacks.
Oh my gosh, when the boys were younger, especially, I would, yeah, I mean, we'd go to leave the house and I'd have just a giant bag of snacks and food because I know all of us, including my husband and I, like we do not, nobody needs us to be hangry. Like that's not a
No.
healthy place to be. And so I'd always bring the snacks and yeah, every single time because I knew we'd be out for a while. Everyone's starting to look for something to eat. And guess what? I had a bag full of
Guess who's got
snacks.
snacks? See, mom.
Shocking. Oh, Tanisha, this has been an absolute delight. I knew it would be fun talking to you, and I'm so excited. It was really fun getting to see your face and to chat with you. And on behalf of everyone, I'm gonna say you should do lives more often so we can see you and talk to you. But at God's pace, at God's pace.
I will. I will. I said I was gonna like introduce lives back in. So
Yeah,
yes, I will.
I love that. Well, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I had fun.
Thank you for listening. I'm just so grateful that you would take the time to be here with me today. I hope that if there's anything that inspired you or got you excited, that you would share it to social media or send me a message with any input or feedback that you have. And just really appreciate the support and the encouragement that I get from you guys all the time. I will keep showing up and I hope you keep listening.